Good morning, my fellow champions. Happy Monday once again. Here with a little hero support for you. Want to talk for a second about relapse, okay? What is relapse and how do you deal with that? Well, you might have heard of the word relapse used in conjunction with the substance abuse treatment world, right? People who are trying to recover from drug and alcohol abuse often talk about relapse and falling off the wagon and starting to drink again or drug again. Well, and there's another way to use the word relapse, and I use that in regards to this, um, character development and skill building thing, and I call it kind of a character relapse. So we mentioned that there are three different ways of dealing with problems in your life that are ineffective, right? That is what we've talked about as the sidekick, the minion, and the villain, right? The villain does not play well with others. They try to cross people's boundaries. They take their anger out on other people. They hurt people just because they don't care about how their actions are affecting others, right? And the people in that minion role, they're afraid of social conflict, and because of that paralyzing fear of having to confront someone who might be trying to aggress on them socially, or psychologically or emotionally, that person in the minion role, they just let the bully come and trample down everything they've worked on, right? So we don't want to be the villain, and we don't want to be the tool of the villain, right? The minion. And so additionally, the sidekick role is that person who allows themselves to just kind of stay on the sidelines, and they don't really take proactive steps to solve any problems because they don't realize that they can be proactive, that they can be intentional, that they have personal power, right? Personal agency, that they have the capacity to initiate and sustain a course of action towards a goal, right? And that with the right tools, they can construct a pathway towards the achievement of whatever they want to achieve in life. And in this case, it's well-being and flourishing, right? In addition to all the other things that you're pursuing. So finally, when I say relapse, I'm talking about relapsing from a pro-social management style, that heroic management style, where you are taking personal responsibility for facilitating win-win outcomes of every action that you take. However you act is going to result in something positive for yourself and something positive for the people around you. Or at least it's not going to be negative for them, right? So if I'm going to go to work and my girlfriend needs a ride to work, um, you know, we're going to try to figure out a plan that both of us like. If I'm going to go over to my friend's house tonight and hang out, but I get out of work at a certain time and they're going to be there earlier, I'm going to find a way to make it so that I'm not late to the party, because that's going to make them have to wait for me to bring the food or whatever because I'm bringing it, and I don't want to upset them, and meanwhile they want to accommodate me. So facilitating positive outcomes means not just when a problem arises, but that I actually am being proactive and intentional in my thinking and saying, okay, what can I'm about to do this thing. I want to make sure it's not screwing anyone over, right? That's basically in a nutshell. And better yet, since I don't want to create problems for me in the future, right? I'm not going to screw people over. But better yet, I want to create opportunities to advance my goal, to advance my agenda. And so I'm going to work with others and support others in their efforts to achieve goals as well. So that's that heroic management style. It's maximizing your constructive influence in your life and trying to minimize or push out those destructive influences so that the only things that are impacting your life are positive things. That way you maintain your personal empowerment and your capacity to create and sustain pathways towards the achievement of goals like well-being and flourishing. Now, a relapse then would be when that heroic character relapses into an old pattern of behavior. They relapse under stress, when they're tired, when they're hungry, they're angry, and when they're lonely, right? Maybe when they're afraid, usually under peer pressure. If one of your relatives hurts you, or a person that's been in your life does something rude or mean to you, it can make you feel pain. And that's why it's so important to be willing to feel the fear, to feel the discomfort, to feel the sadness. Because if you choose to put a wall up to that pain, then you are going to choose in that moment to have a relapse. Because the villainous character, the minion character, those things come about when one's wall is up. Because it's a wall that prevents you from being able to recognize mentally and emotionally when you're trespassing in other people's turf, when you're violating other people's boundaries, right? When you're facilitating destructiveness in your own life, when you're having a destructive influence in your own life, you're creating problems that weren't already there by effing with people, right? By messing with people's heads, by hurting their feelings, by saying rude comments, by not giving a blank today, right? So don't do that to yourself, and try to understand that relapse is part of the equation. You're going to relapse because whenever you're trying to develop or cultivate a new way of being in the world and knowing the world, which is, you're trying to move from maybe that minion role over to the heroic role, or from that villainous role over to the heroic role, or from that sidekick role up to the hero role. Whatever it is, sometimes there's going to be a conflict between your old way of doing things and your new way of doing things. And so I can recommend that if you want to try to prevent relapse from happening, make sure you get plenty of rest every night, because not getting enough sleep is the #1 cause of relapse, in my opinion. From what I've observed with people I've worked with, whenever I see them in a relapse, the first thing I ask them is, "You didn't get enough sleep last night, did you?" Second, the thing I asked him is, who did you see today? Who did you talk to today? Because I'm guessing that somebody hurt your feelings, and now you've chosen not to deal with it. And so if you want to hang out with me, you need to deal with it, because I'm not going to be around you with your wall up, right? Because that makes me have to suffer, and I'm not the one that is responsible for what they did to you, and I'm not responsible for being the garbage pail that you can dump your toxicity into, right? So you need to have appropriate boundaries and solve your own problems emotionally. Don't take it out on me, and let people know. You can say that to people if they start doing it to you. So anyways, relapse is something that happens on a regular basis, and you can tell that you're getting healthier, you're becoming a better manager of your life when you recover from these relapses more quickly. They happen less frequently, and when they do happen, they don't last as long, right? I know some people that relapse used to last like 2 or 3 weeks, and now it only lasts as like an hour, maybe a day at the most. So, anyways, sorry for the long video, but it's really good information and it's important to know. So take that and use it in your life, and I hope you have a great week. Thanks. Bye-bye.